Decades after his death, Tupac Shakur's voice was resurrected for a diss track by Drake. This made a lot of people pretty unhappy. One of the people that it made pretty unhappy was Sheryl. What she had to say was, "You cannot bring people back from the dead and believe that they would stand for that." Kendrick Lamar responded to the fake Tupac with his own diss track. Am I battling Ghost or AI? Now, compare that to the Beatles. In their final song, Now and Then, they used AI to isolate John Lennon's voice out of a cassette demo. As Paul McCartney had to say, nothing has been artificially or synthetically created. It's all real. In that case, it was so that Lennon's voice could authentically be heard again. These are just two examples. While one of these feels a lot more like exploitation, the other one definitely feels more like restoration. And where do we draw the line here? This video is going to be breaking down the three biggest intellectual property challenges in AI. We have copyright law and data scraping, image and likeness, and ownership of AI-generated works. And if you stay tuned to the very end, I'll be giving you some tips on how to protect yourself. We're going to start with the writers. Margaret Atwood, the author of The Handmaid's Tale, discovered that many of her books have been used to train AI. To this, she responded, "I myself can be dispensed with. Murder by my replica, as it were, because who needs the cow when the milk's free?" Which is a depressing thought when it comes to the legacy of such a legendary author. And Atwood is not the only one who is outraged. In 2023, she, along with 8,000 other authors, including John Grisham and James Patterson, signed an open letter warning that millions of copyrighted books, articles, essays, and poetry provide the food for AI systems, endless meals for which there has been no bill. Recently, Anthropic settled a case by other authors who were claiming that the AI platform Claude was being trained with pirated books. For this, Anthropic settled for $1.5 billion, which to date is the biggest copyright settlement in US history. And this just happened last week in early September 2025. But the case was settled in a way where it also means that works that weren't pirated could still be kind of swept in with fair use. In a similar case by Sarah Silverman and some other authors, they were dismissed because they couldn't prove adequately that they were being harmed by the AI using their books to train. Journalism is fighting back too. Both the New York Times and News Corp have suits filed against various AI platforms, such as the ones run by Microsoft and OpenAI, where they're claiming that these AI platforms were being trained off of copyrighted content. In some of these instances, the models would produce nearly word-for-word reproductions of the copyrighted content of these companies, including this guy's book. You might have heard of him. So if AI can recycle books and news for free, what happens to the professionals who are depending on their words to make a living? If your own writing was being used to train AI without your permission, would you care? You should, because this training can mean reproducing a writer's voice and style. But the replica that's going to kill the author is just going to be a shallow copy of human creativity that's only meant to mimic what a real writer sounds like. This isn't just about books and news. Hollywood writers saw the same threat coming for their own work, and they were willing to shut the industry down in order to stop it. The Writers Guild strike in 2023 wasn't just about streaming residuals, it was about AI. The writers there were demanding three protections: no replacing human writers, full disclosure of AI-generated scripts, and human choice over when AI is used. It took 148 days of shutting down Hollywood, but they ended up winning those protections. But actors were facing something even darker. During the SAG-AFTRA strike, and also in 2023, studios were proposing scanning background actors once, paying them for a single day of work, and then owning their likeness forever. Fran Drescher, union president and the nanny actress, called it a shocking abuse that would strip performers of control over their own identities for eternity. She stated specifically, "If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines and big business." And the gaming industry has recently sounded the same alarm, with voice actors warning that they could be subject to being cloned by AI themselves. In their own strike, which was just settled in July 2025, they managed to secure protections from AI likenesses as well. And it's not only actors that are at risk. AI has even been caught stealing cultural traditions, such as shown in this next instance from Australia. In 2025, Adobe stock was called out for hosting AI-generated Aboriginal art that was falsely labeled as authentic. Indigenous artists quickly noticed that the designs looked like theirs, but when they traced back to the source, they could tell that these were AI imitations. Kylie Hill, an Aboriginal artist, didn't mince words. "I think it's criminal. It's taking money away from real artists. People should be paying the real artists, not the Adobe fakes." A report from ABC Indigenous Affairs in Australia warned that AI amalgamates and genericizes First Nations art and stories, stripping away meaning, history, and responsibility. Man, those are some big words. These aren't just patterns. We're talking about sacred traditions that are passed down through generations, reduced to cheap digital knockoffs for global resale. And the harm isn't even just theoretical. Buyers might believe that they're supporting Indigenous creators, but actually are funding AI companies instead. That means lost income, lost recognition, and lost cultural integrity of the communities who are depending on this art. AI makes it easier than ever to repeat the same exploitation on a massive scale. And unlike one plagiarized piece, cultural theft like this attacks an entire people's identity. So if big tech can do this to artists, actors, writers, and entire communities, what can they do to your professional identity? Now, to transition, what do you do if you use AI to create something? Who owns that result? And the answer might depend on the platform, and the small print here does matter. For ChatGPT, you do own the outputs, but your data may be used to retrain the models unless you opt out. For Microsoft Copilot, you do get your commercial rights, but you're on the hook if there's plagiarism done by the AI. Other tools can get worse with their terms of service, and a huge example of this is with the image generation platform Midjourney. In that case, the free users don't get any sort of ownership protection. The paid users do, but no matter what, you are still going to have your prompts and your outputs used to train the AI again. And then there's what the law has to say about this, which, as I've discussed, the courts are mixed, but the U.S. Copyright Office is pretty clear that works that are created solely by AI are not able to be protected by copyright law. Courts have confirmed this in the case Thaler versus Perlmutter. In that case, an AI-generated image called A Recent Entrance to Paradise was denied copyright protection because no human authored it. So, even if an AI company says you own it, the law may actually say otherwise. Here's what you could do to protect your work if you're using AI to assist you, which is to use AI as an assistant only, maintain your own originality, save drafts and prompts to prove your authorship. Don't hand over 100% of your work to AI. Revise it and finish it in your own voice with your own creativity. Check contracts for hidden language that are about AI or digital replicas of your voice or image. Opt out of data training whenever possible. We've already seen two futures. One where AI fabricates Tupac's ghost, another where AI carefully restores John Lennon's real voice. How that goes from here is kind of on us. If you want to learn how to use AI in a way that helps protect your career and your identity, like this video and subscribe. That way you're going to know about the upcoming course where I'll be showing professionals how to harness AI safely without losing ownership or credibility. So let me ask you, which dead celebrity AI clone would you want to appear on your diss track? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time. Let's hope I actually press record on that. Yeah, I did.